welcome to the video notes for lesson 2-4. This is all about compound inequalities. And our target for this lesson is I can graph and write inequalities containing and or. So and or. Those are the key words to make a compound inequality. Alright, so this is some examples that we're going to talk about, or situations. So, pick a number that is greater than 5 or less than or equal to -1. So, I'm going to, for all of these examples, I'm going to let n equal a number. Alright, so if I have greater than 5, n could be greater than 5. Or n could be less than or equal to -1. Alright, so if I use the word or, so a number that's greater than 5, okay, so I'll go with 72. That works. Or a number that's less than or equal to -1. Let's say somebody else picks a number and that number that they pick is -10. Since we're using the word or, it can be 72 or -10. Both of these work. So this statement is true. Okay, this could work. The next one, pick a number that is less than or equal to 5 and less than -1. I actually want to change this. We're going to cross out the less than, or the less. We're going to put greater. Greater than -1. Alright, so pick a number that is less than or equal to 5. So n is going to be less than or equal to 5. And it's going to be, n is going to be greater than -1. Alright, so what could that be? Well, how about 4? 4 is less than 5. Is it also greater than -1? Yes, it is. And if we keep going with all the possibilities, 0. 0 is less than or equal to 5, and it is greater than -1, so that is also true. So if we use the word and or we use the word or in these two situations, it works. Let's take a look at the third example of pick a number. Pick a number that is greater than 5 and less than -1. Alright, so this time I'm talking about n is greater than 5 and that same number is going to be less than -1. So I'll go back to the beginning where I said 72. Is 72 greater than 5? Yes, it is. And is 72 less than -1? No, it's not. Well, let's try a negative number then, see if that would work. -10 is less than -1, but -10 is not greater than 5. So no matter what I do, this will not be true. Okay, so you got to be careful. Now, what could we do to change this and make it so it would be true? Cross out the word and make it an or. Alright, so compound inequalities are all about and or, and you've got to make sure that they are true. Okay, so over on the next page, we've got, so we were just on page 13, now we're looking at page 14. So we can graph these. So when we're graphing or, watch what it looks like. So I've got x is greater than 5, so I circle 5, and I go to the right. Or x is less than or equal to -1. Circle -1, shade it in, go to the left. So you'll notice When you have or, they're going the opposite direction. They're going to the left and to the right. So this is the ors. This time we've got greater than or equal to 5, so shade it in and go to the right. Open circle, go to the left over -1. This time they're both shaded in. And then the last time they're both open. So these are compound inequalities, two inequalities that are joined by the word or. The other possibility is the word and. Now we're going to talk about some different ways that you can write a compound inequality. If you're going to use the word or, then this is the only way that you can write it. If you use the word and, you can also use set builder notation, which is this. Basically, set builder notation is you've got your lower number or lower limit. You've got your inequality. Then you've got your variable. Then you've got another inequality. And then you've got your upper limit or your upper number. So if we look at our example here, we've got -5 is less than or equal to whatever our variable is, x, which is less than 5. So this is saying -1 is less than x, or a number, and x is less than 5. Now we also have interval notation, which is using brackets and parentheses. So you'll see our lower limit, or our lower number, our upper number, and they're just separated by a comma. Kind of like when you would write a point that's plotted on a graph. We would use just parentheses. Well, for interval notation, brackets mean when it is less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, and then parentheses means just less than or just greater than. So that's interval notation. And it's kind of a nice, quick, easy way to write it. All right, so let's look at our examples below. So we have our graph. We've got our compound inequality that's combined with the word and. And so we've got -1 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 5. In other words, the number is greater than -1 or equal to, so shade it in, and it's less than 5. Now, this is where it's going to be a little different. Since my arrows aren't going out to the right and to the left, they're going towards each other, I can actually just connect it with a straight line. Now, some of you may not like this, so it is okay to hover it above if you prefer, so that you can tell what the line is doing. Okay, this time I've got x is greater than -1, so open circle, and less than or equal to 5, so shaded circle, and again connect them. This time I've got both of them shaded in. And then connect them. And then for the last one, they're both open and then connected. So this is how you graph them. Here's all the notation. Notice for the less than or equal to, I have the left bracket. For the interval notation, and then when it's just less than or greater than, I have the parentheses. Okay? Alright, so let's do a couple examples together on the next page, and then I'm going to leave a few for you to finish on your own. So, page 15. So write compound write a compound inequality. In set builder and interval notation, that's only if we have and statements. That represent each situation, and then we're going to graph it. Okay. All real numbers that are at least -1 and at most 3. So at least, I'm thinking less than or equal to, and at most greater than or less than or equal to. So I could think of this, if I'm going to let x be my number, I've got x, hold on, x, so if it's at least -1, it's going to be greater than or equal to -1, and I've got x is at most 3, so it's going to be less than or equal to 3. Now, we could squeeze those both together and get -1 is less than or equal to our number, which is less than or equal to 3. So this is the set builder notation. The interval notation will look like this. Since I've got a less than or equal to, it's a bracket. -1 is the lower number, 3 is the upper number, bracket again. Now, if either one of these were not also equal to, it would be a parenthesis. Okay, now my graph. So, draw my line. Okay, so, why don't I'll put 0 somewhere, not quite in the middle, maybe right about here. Then my next mark will be -1, 1, 2, 3, and then I'll put another line on either side just so we know that it keeps on going. Okay, so I'm going to do a shaded circle for both of these numbers. Now notice I did not have to put all my numbers, but I did try to keep my scale the same, that it was going by ones. Obviously, if these numbers are much larger, to fit them in, you may need to go by 5s or 10s or something like that. Okay, so the next one. All real numbers that are less than 0 or greater than or equal to 0. Now be careful, this or is all part of the inequality, greater than or equal to. So I've got x, our number, is less than 0 or our number is greater than or equal to 6. Now if you notice, up here the inequalities were going in the same direction. Down here they are not, they're facing towards each other. So that tells me right away that my graph is going to look different than the one that's up here. Since it's an or, I cannot use the set or the interval notation or the set builder where I combine them. So next thing I have is my graph. This is how you're going to write an or inequality, just two inequalities separated by or. Okay, so now I draw my number line. I have, why don't I put, you know what, this time since I've got greater numbers, I'm going to put 0 here, and I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a bigger one, and put that -5. And then going to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, put a bigger one, make that a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, make that one a 10. So I counted by 10. Alright, so I've got a open circle on 0, and since it's less than that, I'm going to the left. And by the way, if you've got different colored writing utensils, this would be a great time to use them, or highlighters. Alright, now for the other one, I'm going to be shaded circle on 6, and going to the right. Okay, there are 3 more problems, 3, 4, and 5. The answers are at the bottom to help you know if you got it correct. I want you to try to do your graphs, your interval notation, your set builder notation. If you've got and, if you've got or, then you're going to just do 2 inequalities. Good luck. Obviously, if you need help, make sure you come and see your teacher or get help from a peer or your parents. And I will see you in math.